Reese. Reese.
Hey, Debbie, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm going to exit. I can't get my like the taskbar at the bottom
Oh,
that allows me to like share screen
okay,
or to even bring up the participant box.
okay.
So I'm going to, well, actually, I don't even have the ability to leave,
To lead?
to leave the,
Oh, to lead. Well,
yeah, let me see. Oh, you know what? I just minimized and it came up.
oh, how about that?
I think, yeah. Okay, I'm good. I'm just going to keep a smaller screen, but we're good. I've
Okay.
got options now. Thanks.
Hey, Martin.
Hey, how's it going?
Great. How are you?
Pretty good.
Good.
Hanging in there, I guess.
Yeah.
How are your holidays?
Pretty uneventful. My folks came down, and that was about it.
Oh, that's good.
How's your son?
He's fine. My wife was tested positive too, but I tested negative, so I don't know what that's all about, but what could you do?
Yeah, what can you do?
I'm pretty sure I had COVID before, back in, like before it even started. I think I maybe had it in December of 2019. So, and I was pretty sick. So I think between that and the vaccinations,
Yeah.
maybe that put
Yeah.
me over the hill. So
My husband and I went to Italy for our honeymoon the fall of 2019 and came back and we were so sick.
yeah,
And I was like, huh, looking back, I wondered.
yeah, I was so sick then. But yeah, so that was our souvenir from traveling for the holidays. But everybody's fine. It's been really mild.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty surprised I tested negative because I've had like a little scratchy throat, and but I haven't felt bad. Nobody's been really sick. So
Yeah, that's good. Vaccines work.
yeah, that's so far for me.
Hi, everybody. Sorry, my camera is not working. It was working earlier. Now I'm just a black screen.
Hello. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you as well.
It's been a minute since I've been on a Zoom meeting. I can't even believe it. I was like, how do I use this again?
It'll all come back.
I sure did, just like riding a bike. Your camera's trying, Christina.
Trying hard. It just is not, it's weird. That is weird.
Hey, Kyle. Hey, Tony. Hey, Emily.
So we are waiting for Julie Parker, and then Councilmember Noonan Camp, Chelsea Noonan Camp. She is our new council liaison. So waiting for her to arrive also.
I don't have anything from Julie yet.
And I haven't received anything.
I'll give it another minute and see.
Okay, so there's
Hey, Julie.
Councilmember Noonan Camp. So Reese, I'll share the agenda after we do roll call, if that works.
Yeah, let's go ahead and call it to order.
Okay, it is 5:46. Chair Reese Adams,
Present.
Vice Chair Martin Gilmore,
Here.
Julie Parker,
Here.
Kyle Conrad,
Here.
and we have Council Member Chelsea Niekamp.
Here.
Welcome. And staff, we have Director Christina Underhill, Inglewood Event Supervisor Tony Arnoldy, and Inglewood School Liaison Emily and Conan. Okay,
Okay, thank you. Well, first I want to welcome Councilmember Newton Camp. Welcome to the CAC.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. Looking forward to getting a better look at what you guys do. I'm so grateful.
Yeah, welcome to the council in general. So, well, we had kind of an exciting year, but we have to start with the approval of the minutes. So want everybody to look those over. The last time we met was in November. It seems like a lifetime ago, but are there any changes from anyone on the minutes?
I'll vote
Hearing
to
none.
approve the minutes.
Thank you, Martin.
I'll second it.
Thanks, Kyle. Okay, so we originally had a public comment, but the agenda has changed a little bit, which we'll get into here. So I'm gonna move on to our new business. And
I think we have to vote on them.
oh yeah, we did vote. Gosh, Martin, thanks. All in favor of the new?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, so mural projects. Britt Fuchs was originally slated to talk to the commission about further mural work and extending the mural that was done by the students last year on Santa Fe. And I spoke to her, and I believe Christina, you did as well. And it sounds to me as though I think that she still has some interest in continuing that mural work. However, I don't know that she has the ability to have the level of involvement in the past. And I think that because of the extensiveness and the possibility of how large this project can be, I don't know where it falls necessarily, because I think there's been student involvement, CAC, to some extent, we didn't fund that particular mural. A little bit of parks involvement with conserving it from the graffiti. And so I wanted to take a little bit of time to just gather some feedback from you all on our initial thoughts. I know it's kind of coming out of the blue, but initial thoughts and what our approach would be for this particular type of project. It would be very extensive. It's not something that we've talked about in the past. And although part of our arts plan does have some reference to mural in regards to public art, it wasn't a primary focus. And so, you know, my thought is it's because it's not a project that we have really discussed undertaking and the amount of conservation that it would take. I don't know that this is something that the CAC would exclusively be able to take up. Christina, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but is that kind of your impression from her at this juncture?
Yeah, so the conversation I had with Britt was she had an interest in the Little Dry Creek mural and extending it to hopefully get graffiti or not get graffitied and have a nice art piece along Little Dry Creek. The other conversation I had with her was regarding our entryways into the city, specifically at Dartmouth and Santa Fe. And in talking to Sean Lewis, our city manager, he also thought that would be a great location for a mural that, welcome to Inglewood, something of that nature going there. And that's part of the wayfinding plan that's in place now. And so that's kind of the conversation I had with her of immediate need. It was more of the wayfinding versus the mural along Little Dry Creek. I know she was looking for possibly partnering with the schools again as another project. I don't know if it's necessarily priority to get that done. The wayfinding is probably going to take more of a precedence as we move forward in the next couple years. We redid the medians along Hamden this last year and installed concrete pads to put some art in there, which Sean had come and spoke to you all about last year. And so I know Britt has a lot of drive and interest in beautifying the city, which is great. And ultimately still the CAC will be the ones that can approve arts because you are the Cultural Arts Commission and we don't have anybody else really that is qualified to do so. And so anytime we get any sort of requests, it'll come through you all. Debbie was able to upload the request form for anyone interested in a mural, or, we still got the crosswalks on there and the traffic boxes too. And so I think as they come in, it'll be something for the commission to review, and it may not be something we always have funding for, but with our connections at the city, with your connections you all may have, there may be some ways to find funding or sponsorships too, to help some of these individuals out that are looking to add more art into our city. So yeah, it's kind of one of those things. We'll take the projects as they come in. It may not be something we can fund or approve at the time, but for Britt's project, I think the wayfinding, the gateway entry sign is probably a top priority. She had a couple artists in mind for that project that they were supposed to come tonight and just talk to you all, introduce themselves. But ultimately, I think for something like that, we'd want to go out to bid to recruit artists and see what they would come up with.
Yeah, I didn't actually talk to her about the wayfinding project at all. And I feel my gut feeling is that the wayfinding project would probably be something that we would work directly with the city with, not necessarily, it would be more city and CAC led versus citizen led. And then to your point, she did have a couple of artists, none of whom are Englewood artists. And I know that's something that we have discussed with her in the past and just in general, and trying to promote and recruit Englewood artists whenever possible. So I did mention that to her for future food for thought, should she. And I also told her about, the art application process. So my vote at this juncture with that particular project would be, if something gets submitted, then we consider it. Otherwise, because it's not a priority, we sort of table it for now. Any thoughts on that?
Reese, I agree. I think it's one where if she wants to submit a project and has an idea and wants to lead it, I'm happy as a committee to review it first. And then second, if she wants to submit for funding, I'm happy to, again, as a committee, review it and then decide if we want to allocate more funds towards that project. But I think at this point, it belongs as a community project. And I also don't think it's necessarily one we want to take on where we're trying to get applications to do a mural there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we could do
Yep.
that process, but I think it needs to be community driven since she's the one who's really been on the forefront of it,
Yeah, right. I agree.
Okay.
Okay. Well, speaking of budget, do you want to go ahead and take the lead on the 2022 budget
Yeah,
discussion?
so what we had approved to add into the CAC budget for 2022 was $13,267. So that goes into your current funding that you have remaining from previous years. Your previous funding just rolls over year after year. And so that's something that you guys can budget for new art pieces, new murals, to help sponsor events like you did for the tree lighting ceremony. So that's added into your official budget. And Reese, I wasn't able to pull up how much we spent last year, so I don't know if you have access to that and what your remaining funds were from 2021.
I do not have it in front of me right now. We were quite under budget for a number of items, so I think the coffers are well funded. But to that point, I guess one of my questions for you is, in addition to wayfinding and placemaking, do you have a sense of the asks from CAC, from the city for 2022 for public art that we need to kind of keep in the back of our minds, from a budgeting and planning perspective, for that matter?
Yeah, that's a good question. I know there is, I'm sure some of this was spent in 2021. Chris Hargreth, our communications director, is overseeing all the wayfinding and placemaking projects. And I know there is funding. I want to say there's like 200,000 in there for funding. Granted, he has a project list of banners and various things that are going to happen, but I know some of that is also allocated for art. So how about we do this for the February meeting? I'll get with Chris and see what type of funding he has remaining and kind of his thoughts on the placemaking, wayfinding art pieces that we might want to look at, like that mural at Santa Fe and Dartmouth. And then that way in February, we can review that and you all can get a better idea of what to budget for and maybe items to be looking for. So I know Sean had some big ideas when he met with you all last year of what could be, but sometimes those do cost quite a bit too. And so, you know, we'll get that information and share it in February.
And do you know where, I mean, I just haven't been following this very closely, but do you know where we are with the Broadway Hamden interchange? When we had a meeting in person, we established a couple locations for to be reserved for art. Timeline for that by chance at all?
I'll check on that as well. I know it's in progress for design. As far as implementation, I'll get the timeline for that. And I know the corner of, I think it's the southwest corner will have some art there possibly. It's open-ended at this point. It's actually going to fall into the parks project that'll be for Little Dry Creek. So
Okay.
the art has been set aside, just not implemented yet, and it'll be part of the Little Dry Creek Plaza area.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I think that's good for us to keep in mind because, like you said, these are expensive pieces.
Yeah.
Potentially very expensive. So, okay, thank you for that. Any comments, questions on the budget or any of that?
Real quick, Tony, do you want to give the update you just sent me about you not using the $1,000 that rolls?
Sure. So yeah, actually what I had just sent Christina was that we did not take the $1,000 that you guys had approved for the tree lighting. That had actually, I took that out of the events budget, and Debbie and I talked, excuse me, sorry. And I asked if your guys' budget rolled over or if you had to spend it out. She did say that it rolled over. That items that I had purchased that I was anticipating using that money for, I had taken out of the events budget. And so with it being towards the end of the year, we didn't make a memo for it to come out of cultural arts because I had plenty of money in the events budget. And so that did roll over. So hopefully that might be something you guys would consider, just adding to whatever you might want to contribute this year. But the money did go for any of you that were at the tree lighting. We had some really cute hats with elf ears and a lot of cool things that we got for the tree lighting that money was intended for.
Great, thank you. Yeah, we will. We'll pin that for next for this year. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Tony. In November's meeting, we discussed bringing back artist meet and greets, but what a difference 30, 60 days makes, because at this point, I think we table this as well, and kind of talk through it maybe in a few months after COVID has figured out what it would like to do this winter season. But about a month ago, the communications team put out some social media posts regarding both joining our artist list and applying for the commission. And we got a number of interested local artists to add. So we beefed up the list a little bit there. And I'll just segue just for a second, but and we have a number of people who've applied to be on the board. So we'll have a couple new members next month. So that's great.
I think there's still some opportunities to do the meet and greets, though they're fairly easy to set up. But you know, this isn't going to last forever, and we probably should think about that for the year. The other thing about this is, even if it lasts into February, maybe there's some kind of artist meet and greet that we can do via one of these platforms, which isn't ideal, Zoom or Facebook Live. That's even just a discussion of arts in Englewood or some way to turn that, rather than just be a meet and greet like we used to do it in a bar or the library or wherever. One of the elements we had discussed adding before the pandemic was lecture series or some kind of benefits to the artists as well. So we could offer something like that potentially on a digital platform, and kind of have, because who knows what this is going to do for the rest of the year, have a few of those that we could replace our in-person events with some online kind of events. So I'm just putting that out there as maybe some ideas to kind of think about that we can discuss at the February meeting.
Yeah, that's great.
Because I would hate to lose another year on doing this kind of work just because of COVID. I think we can work around it. We just need to come up with like a backup plan that's easy to implement right away.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
All right, let's put that on for next month to discuss a little bit more. Okay. No old business. Upcoming events. Is that you, Tony?
Yes. So we have a lot of events upcoming for 2022 that I'm very, very excited about. And I'm sorry, I should have had that list available for you guys to look at. I'm actually working on it right now because I'm going to City Council on July. Tells you where I'm at. I've planned all day. January 18th, and to talk about the 2022 events and put together, I will have together by February 1st a complete list of all of the planned events for 2022 and dates, and of course always subject to change, but a lot of new and exciting things coming up. Some things went away and some things are going to be added and some things remain the same. So of course, we're going to have the same signature events. So the 4th of July, the block party, the sunset concerts during the summer. There'll be kids stage. There's going to be markets, more markets. There's going to be a market series and just a ton of really cool stuff. So a lot of different opportunities for this group to participate in and be noticed at. And I would love to promote you guys and show off everything that we're doing. And I'm just open to any questions that you might have and look forward to a new year full of fun, exciting Englewood events.
Yeah, that's awesome. You said that you'll have the list the beginning of February.
Yeah, so on February 1st, we're actually going to launch the events website, which is englewoodco.gov/events. And we're excited that for 2022, we're also going to waive the fee for the nonprofits to participate at the city events. And we have reformatted the costs and processes for the vendors and sponsors and everyone that wants to participate. So looking to form a bit of a broader planning committee for the block party. We might be expanding that just a half a block or so. So just a lot of still moving parts. And then of course with COVID, always having that contingency plan and making sure that we have everything set up for that as well.
My ask would be if you have any big events or specific, doesn't have to be big, specific events within the first half of the year that you have specific asks from us. I think that would be that's helpful for the commission to know if you have a need versus us trying to create a need where there may not be one, or, you know, sometimes we don't necessarily know how to fit in or what kind of events, music, public art, whatever it might be. So
Yeah,
yeah.
no, definitely.
It takes us a couple of months to get there, I guess is what I'm saying. And so I don't want to have to spend multiple meetings like brainstorming. So if you have specific things, we can like act on them a little bit quicker.
Well, I absolutely understand, and I'd be happy to do that. So what I would love to do is at our February meeting, bring you in, give you guys, maybe have in the agenda where I think you guys get your stuff beforehand, before the meeting, and maybe you can look over that list. You're always welcome at every event. And so I think there's more that might curtail to you a little bit more, you know, the markets and stuff like that. But you guys are always welcome at any event, and that way you guys can see them all. And that way, if any of you individually are like, well, I would really think that we might be a good fit for this, and, you know, we can discuss it at that point briefly versus me trying to, you know, come up with everything. So our first event will happen on April 9th, is going to be our first spring fling type of event. And it's going to be the egg hunt and a market. And they're also going to have crafts and like pot decorating. And we bought a whole bunch of seeds for planting. And I'm hoping that some of our local, like Birdsall and Floppy Hat, and some of our local vendors will want to be involved in that as well. So yeah, we are definitely keeping the events and enhancing a lot of them. So I will have that list available to all of you before the February meeting for you to look at. So as soon as that is ready to go, I will make sure that you guys get that.
Great. And Martin, when do you want to do you want to continue pop-up concerts this year? I'm assuming yes.
Possibly. We had talked about maybe changing it to do it being more like little concerts in the parks or something like that was an idea tossed around.
Yeah.
I don't mind doing the pop-up concerts. I'm not 100% sure that I think that they're what we want them to be, I guess. We've tried them for several years. I think that was a cool idea when we proposed it, but I don't know that I think that it's panned out quite the same.
Yeah. I mean, I think in some format.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it would be kind of a great way to kind of cooperate with parks, and we have all those picnic areas and pavilion things, and maybe we can just figure out ways to put musicians into those for people to come out and maybe do a little better advertising. You know, there are some other challenges that go along with that, or not challenges, but other things that go along with that that we'd have to work out. But I'm happy. I think that might be a better way to try to do something like that. Just because the pop-up concerts are cool, but you know, we're only getting, I don't know, you know, it's a good gig probably financially for the musicians, but not super satisfying, I would guess. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I've played a lot of gigs like that, and it doesn't matter to me. So
I definitely would advocate for the little concerts in the park. I think it would be so nice if people actually knew where they were, you know.
Yeah.
And I've come in after, so I don't know the motives behind pop-up concerts. I'm assuming it was just easier logistically, but yeah, I could see just so much more reach if people know the parks they're at, and like, especially in times of COVID, like you can go and picnic and take your family and listen to good music, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the things that we were trying to do was to inspire kind of a busking scene downtown. Our downtown isn't super ideal for that kind of a thing. There are just a couple of spots that would be good for real busking, and that's in the
Yeah.
Paseo. And there's music venues or the Brewability has music there on one side of the Paseo, and then on the other side is okay. But I just don't think that they've quite panned out the way we wanted them to. And I
Yeah.
think it would be a cool way to cooperate with the parks. I guess we'd have to work some of that stuff out. And I don't want to compete with other, like the other concerts going on in the amphitheater or anything like that. So we'd have to figure out a way to make them different. But I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
some idea. I'm still working on kind of what that would look like. But I haven't thought about it all of December, so now I can think about it.
Okay. Okay. I also think doing something in the medical corridor towards the kind of the end of the day. It's such a busy corridor that I think that could be kind of rewarding too for an artist. A, for employees, but B, I mean, Craig residents and other, people just kind of visitors and whatnot to the hospital, I think would really enjoy that.
Yeah, one of the discussions we had about the pop-up concerts and that kind of stuff is that that kind of art doesn't require maintenance, doesn't require
Right.
upkeep at all, and so that's a good way to have arts in the community without having years-long responsibility to polish it and clean it.
Did we do a pop-up concert in that area?
We never did. I sometimes hospitals are weird about noise, and not weird, I shouldn't say that, but
They have restrictions.
they have restrictions with noise. I think that there are some opportunities for that, but we never did that. We kind of tried to put them in other more prominent places. And I'm not against doing the pop-up concerts or doing something like that there. I think that would be a great spot to do things like that. And I know, or I seem to remember, Grow and Gather was interested in that as
Yeah.
well. So
Yeah, right.
Maybe that is a place for a little, again, coming back to that little concert idea where there is a little bit of coordination, but we're not I do think that would be a cool, especially a corridor between even Craig and Swedish, that corridor
Yeah.
where they have a lot of their therapy patients come out. It could be really cool, but I think it would take some approval and
yeah, I mean, I think we could work something like that out. We just had never dealt with it. We were just doing them in the parks and at the Paseo essentially. But I don't know that I think that it's necessarily the location that's going to solve that whole thing. I think we've tried busy locations. It's just maybe formatting it different and telling people about it. The pop-up concerts were the goal was to have it be more like paid busking than
Yeah.
have it be a promoted show. But I think we should promote it. So anyway,
I do too.
I see Tony has her hand up.
Yeah, Tony.
Yeah, I do. Just to throw out some ideas. I know that there's going to be some neighborhood nights that Madeline's going to do again that are, I think she's working with Lindsay for the movies in the parks. So maybe before the movies start might be an idea. All of the markets are an awesome place if artists are interested in that type of thing. So I think you guys have tons of great ideas. And I know, and working closely with Craig this last year as one of our major sponsors, they really enjoyed that too, because they like it for their patients. And Grow and Gather was a hit with that as well.
Awesome.
well, and two, maybe like even adding on to those block parties, like what you were saying, as neighborhoods could rent the block party trailer. Maybe there's a slot where they could like request a musician and we could put them in contact or something if it's a reasonable.
During COVID, I wanted my neighbor's a jazz musician and he plays behind in his garage in the alley. And I was like, you guys just need to rent like a flat bed pickup or something and drive around and like
Before the pandemic, I think that Englewood was doing those alley parties. I don't know if that's still happening or if that was a short-lived thing. But
No, I think they're still happening. You can rent the
Huh?
trailer and
Oh,
like
cool.
they're like block parties.
Yeah, but that was a cool idea because I know all my neighbors across the street, and I know none of my neighbors who live behind me. So
Yeah.
that's my fault, but it's just a different vibe. So I liked the idea of the alley party. Yeah, Tony, maybe I'll just contact you about the neighborhood nights or the markets. Or is there a way I can learn
Yeah.
about those somewhere?
Absolutely. I mean, you can call me or email me anytime. I think that's okay, right?
It's fine with me. It's fine with you. Just to kind of work that out. I'm not sure what it would look like to get musicians.
Yeah,
there.
no, it's great. And the markets are, and most of those dates set, just not locations. And
Yeah, that we'll definitely try to put something there.
yeah, and then the neighborhood nights are Madeline's, and I can get you in contact with her, and
Okay.
Lindsay sits right next to me. So she still does the parks events. So definitely can get you into all the people, in
Cool.
contact with all of the people, and you can kind of put together a list, and then you guys can decide what is most interesting and advantageous for you.
Yeah, I think that would be a better situation for our musicians as well. So.
Mhm.
I love it.
Awesome. Anything else on upcoming events or for the new year? Okay.
Are you going to talk about the t-shirts?
Oh, I have that. Yes, I was gonna do that during Commissioner's Choice, so we can talk about that now.
No, you can wait. I can wait.
No,
I just wanted to
It's
make
fine, let's do it now. Let's see, how's the turnout going?
We have 5 submissions so far, and they're pretty cute. So I'm definitely planning on bringing all of those to the February meeting, or you guys will probably have them beforehand. I'll get you what's there
Okay.
before that, and so you can take a look, and then you guys can decide and vote on what you want to go with and what color t-shirt we want, and then we will get those ordered so that we can start giving them out when events start.
Cool. Emily, don't forget to promote that at the high school, because the volunteer t-shirt competition, we're giving the winner $500. So it's kind of a nice little incentive.
And do you have a link for that? Because we go back to school tomorrow, so I can send out that information.
I can send it to you, or it's on our website and on Nextdoor. I saw it go out again today, but I can definitely.
I can find it on the website.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because I saw they just posted it again. Like
I think it
yesterday.
was on Facebook too today with the city.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'll share that this week with students.
I mean, I would have liked 500. I would like $500 now.
It's not too late.
I don't think I can enter. Okay, awesome. All right, staff's choice. Staff, anything on your end? Anything more on your end?
Sure. Well, you may notice Mark Mullis is not at the meeting tonight. He unfortunately resigned back in mid-December. He was the library and cultural arts manager. So we are going to be recruiting very soon for a new manager for our library and then the cultural arts as well. So hopefully by maybe March, we should have somebody on board. Earlier would be better, but so that's the update. COVID is running rampant through our city staff. Our library staff have been cut in half by COVID, and our recreation centers and elsewhere. So for all of you, stay healthy. If you haven't got COVID yet, keep wearing your masks and be healthy. But anyways, Happy New Year to you all. It's good to see you all back. And that's all I've got.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, Commissioner's Choice. Nothing more on my end. I will leave it open-ended. Anybody have anything that they'd like to close on?
I had an idea that I probably should have spoken up earlier, but I wasn't sure if it was the right time. As we were talking about concerts and other ideas for art in the community. I just wanted to, I had heard something that I wanted to share about again, and that was, I'd read about it in the New York Times or something, but they were doing artists were putting art installations on their yard, in their yards or on their garage or whatever. This was early in the pandemic. And then it was like a kind of a drive by or walk by or possibly bike by, depending on the weather, art exhibit. And so I just want to refloat that idea to you, especially if we've gotten some new artists into our list. Maybe it's something that people could to do to show their work in a more COVID safe sort of way while we're still trying to figure out what that looks like. So it was just an idea and I thought it sounded interesting when I first heard about it and wanted to mention it again.
Is it similar to like how people can enter their homes for Christmas lights and you can like drive around and see?
Yeah.
Like, was there a map kind of situation?
Yeah, it was kind of like a map and it kind of promoted the artist, but also like, you know, it's something you could do outside. So I think you could do it any way you wanted to, but I just thought it was a neat idea. And as we're trying to promote artists in our community, like
That is a neat idea.
Yeah, within the parameters of COVID, you know, we're making things up as we go along, right? So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there again.
Julie, I love that idea. One of the cool things I did this summer that I really enjoyed is I went to Park Hill and they have I don't know if you've done it, but people have backyard art shows. And they have a map. And so we got the printed map and walked neighborhood to neighborhood because that's where my in-laws live, is over there, and got to go see artists in their backyard, and they sold their art and then they did art demos. So like people were blowing glass, people were painting. There was like one lady was doing pastels, another person was throwing pots in front of everyone, but they opened up their whole backyards and a lot of people paired together. So a lot of the yards had like 2 artists from the neighborhood. I want to say there was like 14 houses, but Park Hill's like pretty big area. So I think it's a little bit bigger than here, but it was so cool because you had a map and then you just went neighborhood to neighborhood and got to see people's art, and they did this whole beautiful art display in their backyard.
So was this all going on at the same time? It sounds like
it was 2 days. No, it was a 2-day event, Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
And like, and because it was time of COVID, like one house was closed. They're like, our house is contaminated. Don't, like, just kind of being artsy, cutesy, hysterical because they all had COVID. But yeah, they pre-printed all the things and you just walk from house to house and popped in the backyards.
Really cool. That sounds really cool. I think the one I read about was more like, you know, they were always on display and you could do it whenever you wanted to, but I like that idea of having it be like a First Friday, except it's, you know, more coordinated. I think these are all great. I had no specific plan when I brought it up. I just, you know, wanted to.
I really like it. The one I went to, I will say, I bought a ton of Christmas gifts.
Yeah.
Because it was like such cool stuff.
Artists.
Yeah, exactly. It was like such cool stuff. That was really fun. But I think either one, like it would be fun to plan something like that for summer or
sounds
spring.
Really cool. Yeah, nice weather. We want to do.
Yeah, exactly. That would be a great summer event.
So like you were saying earlier, we got some new artists. So I'm really interested in that, like finding ways to, you know, if we can't do the meet and greets like we used to, like maybe there's some other way to get people like working together, albeit slightly remotely or whatever. Like I miss hanging out with people.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So, all right, thanks. I hope that was okay to pop that in there right then.
Yeah, I think that's great. In fact, I think it sounds like there's a lot of interest, so we should maybe pursue that a little bit more next meeting, and you know, maybe even think about what that would look like and a date or a month that might be kind of interesting to us. So the more we can plan ahead, I think is better, so that we're not left scrambling. So, all right, anything else? Emily, anything on your end? No? Member Noonan Camp, anything on your end?
No, thank you so much for welcoming me. And I'm so excited to see what you guys have planned for this year. I've heard so many ideas that already make me excited. So looking forward to working with you all.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here, everybody. Next month we'll have some new members, but until then, have a safe month, and I guess we'll adjourn.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.